a lot of my core responsibilities that I do at ALG, Apple Leisure Group, is really constructing a team that is world class outside of the day-to-day job, which I know we're going to talk about a little bit later. But really, just the core functions that we do is revenue management, or as I prefer to say, it's revenue governance, analytics, global airline relations and strategy, as well as competitive intelligence, which is a big part of what we do when we run our pricing processes, for example. So yeah, it's been a blessing, and it's a wonderful role, and I couldn't be more proud of the team, just doing a fantastic job. Over the years and coming out of the pandemic, obviously, we just became extremely strong, and the future is bright within the Hyatt family. Well, that's a great question, and it's always about the team and how we lead the team and care for them. And we're a company that's run by a purpose. We not only have a vision and a mission and all the values that we created, and it's extremely aligned with the values that Hyatt has. But we also have a purpose, and that purpose is really to care for our people so they can be at their best. Whether you're a concierge at a hotel, whether you're working at a headquarters, whether you're part of the in-destination management company. So it's really about the supporting and helping and growing the individual talent within the company, and that's where I spend a lot of my energy and focus throughout the day. And really just trying to help the team to be coordinated and working together to make sure that everything that we do, which is really in a center of a lot of things that's happening at an organizational level, we're making sure that the impact that we do is meaningful and we create value for our customers. We're a customer-obsessed mindset that we have at the company. That's how we run our processes. That's how we run the business. And we want to make sure that everything that we do is creating value for our customers, for our colleagues, and staff on property as well. So that's where I really try to align with my peers and my counterparts, and working with leadership and obviously with the team day in and day out to make everything better and improve. And that's another great question, and I do think we run into the challenges of what are the real priorities, right? And an organization and a company at this size and scale, there are so many competing priorities that just taking resources, taking time, taking funds, obviously. And we really want to simplify and really focus on a few things and major in the major things. And I think we got pretty good at it, really just figuring out what are the best ROIs for the things that we want to do and the way we want to handle our business and grow the business. And I do think with the help of many partners and aligning with stakeholders within the company, prioritization has become to a much better place than it used to be. And we talked about it recently on one of our meetings, how the COVID pandemic kind of really exposed us some of our weaknesses, especially on the backside of the house, right? In the past, it was always about frontline growth and how do we really growing the pipeline of the hotels, how we grow revenue, but it wasn't necessarily the purpose to really redesign the back end kind of dry processes when it comes to accounting and things like that, refund processes. And COVID exposed to us some of those weaknesses, and we really came together as a team and changed a lot of those. And we truly transformed the organization within the last 2 years, 2.5 years at this point. And we're stronger, better, and we've been having record seasons back to back. And this year we're going to finish extremely strong as well. So that's thanks to the team and the collaboration that we went through. Right, and as you're aware, we recently joined the Hyatt family. So obviously that integration, the integration efforts, and coming together, not just as a one culture, which is very, very seamless. It was extremely complementary. It was very organic in that sense. But nevertheless, there are certainly things that you wanted to make sure that is working properly, and you really explore the opportunities, what this bigger family really means to the entire organization, and how can we serve and care for customers at a larger scale, right? So I'll give you an example. Obviously, as ALG, Apple Leisure Group, we have the Unlimited Vacations Club, UVC. How do we really figure out a way to take that tremendous amount of value that we have here with the World of Hyatt membership that Hyatt has, and how do we really integrate those functions? That's one key example. And to Hyatt, for example, what we do on the distribution side, really, it was something kind of new to them, right? So as we run one of the largest, actually the largest operation on the charter flying business in the US, for example, it was really unknown to our Hyatt colleagues, right? So how can we capture the value? How can we really funnel strategically all that business that we drive to ensure hotel pipeline growth, hotel performance, and what are the best ways to collaborate on that? So it's really about the integration that in recent months, like how can we capture that value? And again, this merger and acquisition from Hyatt, it was really about growth. It's not that kind of M&A activity where you just, where are the synergies, where's the cost cutting? It was really about growth, and Hyatt is giving us the platform and the support to really think globally, and how can we expand not just the hotel pipeline on the Apple Leisure Group side, but how do we expand distribution? How do we tap into the opportunities with many other business units that we have from destination management to the membership club? And I think that's why we have a very bright future ahead of us. Yeah, and again, it goes back to the purpose that we have and the set of values that we have. And one of the key values that it's one of my mantras, and my competitive intelligence team knows this better than anyone. We like to experiment. We're in a test and learn environment. We're kind of Silicon Valley mentality where it comes to, hey, it's okay to try and it's okay to fail. If you do fail, make sure that it's you minimize the risk as much as possible, but we learn from it, right? So we do a lot of experimentation, and that purpose of care really comes down to how can we really bring that additional value by every single tiny action that we do, and how we can really present that to our customers. And with the pandemic, we've really found that experiences on the customer side, that's one of the main drivers of these people going all inclusive and really traveling after countries open back up, borders open back up. And we really see people willing to spend that extra amount of money and really buying into the higher hotel categories, higher room categories, staying longer, obviously. So being that experience-driven attribute by the customers has really flourished over the last 2 years, and we kind of had to adapt a little bit to that. So it's not always price, it's not always the cheapest one, it's not always how can I fly down to Cancun for $60. It's really about the whole value chain from the moment of booking all the way through getting home from that vacation with lifelong memories, basically. Right. Now, it's a great question, and it's so interesting because pre-pandemic, I certainly feel like travel has always been about, which I think is a great thing because it sparks innovation, but it has always been about competition and competing against one another, right? And with the pandemic, the industry really came together, right? And I always say it's better to be a missionary than a mercenary in most cases, and that's exactly what happened. The industry came together. And especially on the leisure side, the beach destination side, the all-inclusive space. The sole winner of coming out of the pandemic is really the leisure travel segment. And now this year, obviously, and I do expect and we assume the group side of the business is going to continue to flourish for coming years. And I do believe business travel is going to come back, and all the big major airlines already claimed that about 70-80% of that business travel is already back. I think they still have some way to go, but leisure travel has always been that front runner of that recovery phase, and we're just kind of harnessing the benefits there. And I think rate gain really helped us understand that competitive landscape. Being missionary doesn't mean that we don't keep an eye on our competitors. So we definitely need to know what's happening in the marketplace. What are the changes that we're seeing? What are the price trends that we can expect? And that really funnels into our forecasts, funnels into our data analytics, funnels into our budgeting process eventually, and really understanding how competitors behave, which is going to derive the insights from that and build it into our forecasting models essentially. Having that efficiency, having that accuracy from rate gain, which really helped us to be more accurate, essentially, right? So, and accuracy is key once you're a public company. Right. I mean, we do have a lot of unique and ad hoc requests, right? And we're a very complex, unique business model. It's a vertically integrated business model that we run. And, as I mentioned earlier, we run the largest charter operations out of the US down to Mexico, Caribbean, which is a very unique segment of our business, right? And we constantly have, it's a very heavy financial commitment on our side, obviously. And we want to ensure the best financial performance, obviously, through that program. And RateGain really helped us making sure that that competitive landscape is, the information and the data that we receive is accurate, it's real time, and it's fast, right? And building all these models behind the scene really helped us, understand demand patterns. Really helped us understand where the next surge of demand is going to come from. And we're in a constant test and learn environment. We just launching the pilot for Rev AI. That has been an ask on our part for a while. It's that we're not only looking at revenue optimization, but we also want to do the profit optimization side of the house as well. And just really building that capability into our system while we go through some migrations internally, right, with the integration and just the roadmap and the natural evolution of our BI segment. It's just been phenomenal, right? I mean, just the flexibility, the responsiveness, the speed to market, and just the accuracy. I mean, I'm very, very big on being accurate. We thrive on that, and we're extremely proud of what we put forward. And RateGain helped us along the way. So I think that's a key for us. Oh, okay. Innovation. I think that's one of the core pillars of who we are, of what we do. And RateGain really supports us, in that sense. And RateGain being a very innovative company, I think that's a very good match that we have. I do not believe in job descriptions. They are pretty much obsolete the moment you start any job, basically. And yes, there's been a lot of evolution. So I took on additional responsibilities throughout the pandemic, and I always, in a mindset of collaborating, with the broader organization. We're very, very cross-functional, right? So anything that we do on the revenue governance side, revenue management, or pricing side is going to impact channel performance. It's going to impact marketing. It's going to impact, obviously, finance. So everything that we do, we don't do them in a bubble or in a tiny silo. We truly want to reach out and make sure that there is heavy collaboration, heavy alignment, and that's really one of my core responsibilities, is to ensure clarity, ensure momentum, and make sure that those competing priorities are stacked properly. So I truly took on additional responsibilities on the airline strategy side, the analytics side, and just the performance and revenue strategy side over the years, and collaborating, working with other business units such as AMR, the all-inclusive collection that we have within Hyatt now, as well as UVC, as well as Amstar, the destination management company, and now supporting and helping as much as possible the legacy core Hyatt functions as well. Now, it's a very good question, and these are the big billion-dollar questions, right? I do think that all-inclusive is going to continue to flourish. The all-inclusive space has been the clear winner of coming out of the pandemic. We're definitely doubling down on that front. It's no secret. It's public information. We continue to sign amazing deals across not just the Americas and Mexico, Caribbean, but right now about half of our portfolio with AMR is in Europe, actually. We just recently signed a deal in Bulgaria, which might be interesting to some folks. So definitely all-inclusive is the future trend in hospitality, and we are positioned extremely, extremely well with Hyatt. So I think that's one thing. The other thing that we continue to foresee is just the elevated pricing environment in general, right? So obviously we all know about the inflation stats, both U.S. and global scale. We understand the challenges of that, but because we are targeting and we're really working and caring for the higher end travelers, they are obviously more resilient in this sort of challenging macro environment. But I also need to add to that currently U.S. households and Americans, based on the recent Fed information and data, they're sitting on about $4.7 trillion in cash that coming or stemming from prior year subsidies. So that is definitely a major demand generator line that hopefully we're going to be able to harness, because ultimately people want experiences, right? We see that across the board. They don't need another flat screen TV. They don't need another Peloton bike. They definitely want to go out and explore the world. And I do think there is one very interesting momentum that's going to work for us. The baby boomer generation, they are going to start retiring in masses. And they are the largest wealth holders in the US. So what are they going to do with that wealth? They're going to spend it. And that's going to continue to give us some tailwind for the foreseeable future, hopefully. And they most likely going to spend it on higher end travel, which I do think is going to benefit us. Yeah, I translate that into an opportunity for hotel companies and even individual hotels. I do think there's further opportunity in partnerships, right? As we talked about it earlier, pre-pandemic, everybody was kind of fighting the competitor, like, oh, how do I get a better rate? How do I make certain operational costs? And I think in this world, it's gonna really be about partnering and partnerships. And that's why we have a very dedicated supplier engagement team, for example, on the distribution side, working with wide variety of hotel chains. That's why we have a global airline relations and global airline strategy team working with all the airline carriers, right? So I do think partnership and doing it properly, where it creates value for both sides, I think that's definitely an opportunity moving forward. And again, on that space, we're positioned extremely well, just given the intellectual capital that our organization holds. So I do think that's one thing for the future. Maybe the other one is really creation of very unique experiences, right? And customer expectations are not going to get less and less. Obviously, it's going to continue to be more and more. They want extremely innovative ideas when we talk about like all-inclusive resorts, for example, right? And our team at AMR, or the All-Inclusive Collection, they're just doing a phenomenal job innovating and doing a certain things. And let me give you an example. Every all-inclusive resort that we have, they have a gym, for example. But in the pandemic, being in a confined space at a gym may have not been something that a lot of people wanted to do. So some of our resorts actually created an outdoor gym, bought some equipment, they found a dedicated space. So they brought out an outdoor, workout, exercise area, essentially. Or Petit Chef, for example, which is a fantastic experience for kids, which is an augmented kind of reality, in that culinary space, and just the entertainment part of it. The all-inclusive space and our resorts, the entertainment team is just unbelievable. The shows and the production that they put together for different age groups, right? And that is something that our customers want, that our customers seek. So really elevating the game in that experience space, I do think that's definitely here to stay, and I think it's just going to get bigger and better and bolder. Right? It's a wonderful question, and to me, a big part is about education and individual development. Right? How do we grow individual talent around a certain topics and subjects and skill sets that you mentioned? I do think one of them is, the buzzword in the pandemic was, being agile, pivoting, all that. It's 100% agree. It's extremely important to be agile in an environment like this. There's one thing that I like better, and that is being anticipatory. How do we anticipate the next change, right? And that really comes down to scenario planning and model planning, right? So recession is a great example here. There's a lot of talks about a lot of different opinions from big Wall Street banks and obviously economists and government, and how's this recession gonna shake out, if there's gonna be even a recession, right? And being anticipatory means that we truly scenario plan for various alternative paths. It's like a spaghetti model, like with hurricanes, right? So we would try to understand what impacts we're going to see if things go this way, if things go that way. So being anticipatory and having that creative mindset, I think it's crucial for the future generations to understand. But there is something behind that, and that something is deep, true data analytics. So being that analytical mindset and how we connect the different puzzles, right? So I think that's a big part of it. So understanding some of the geopolitics that's happening in the world, understanding some of the macroeconomic trends that's happening in certain areas, how that's really impacting supply chains down the road, how that really impacts inflation, how that impacts consumer spending, how that impacts consumer debt. All these things I think is really crucial because ultimately that will drive airline capacity planning. Airline capacity planning will impact how many people we can bring to certain destinations. Understanding pipeline growth for competitors, understanding our pipeline growth, like how that really works together. I think having that extremely complex understanding of the world around us and being able to navigate that ambiguity, I think that's a critical skill set that organizations need to invest into their talent, into their talent pool and their people, because they are the ones ultimately going to solve for these challenges and opportunities down the road. So to me, it starts with caring for our colleagues, caring for our teams and people, and that's always a good investment. No, and thank you for elaborating on that. I think it's critical that you brought it up. So yes, and that's why we're so happy to partner with Reagan, obviously, because it really helps with automation and efficiency. So a revenue management team or revenue governance team, as I like to call them, they spend a lot of time researching and analyzing information and data. If we can really automate a lot of that information and they don't have to worry about 60% or 70% of the revenue management practices that we do, the yield management and the rate tactics side, then they can really spend that time. We can really spend that very precious resource called time on really doing more innovative things that's really going to bring value to the company. They can do more creative things on revenue management. They can do more creative things on aligning with different business units, really helping out other colleagues who may be under pressure because of constraints in resources or time. So I do think automation, efficiency, and again, going back to accuracy, that I think that's truly gonna help us in the future. So we can really spend time on ideation and bringing the best ideas to the table. Because in my organization, I always say, best ideas win. Doesn't matter where it comes from, and I encourage everybody to be a creative thinker.